Alrighty then.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's episode number 10. We've made it.
We've got energy.
This is a milestone.
Oh,
I'm glad you're on episode 10.
Double digits.
Because we're going to do milestone episodes. On number 100, we need to do something fancy. Okay, well, he's breaking it down. He's got the little...
Milestone? No.
He's got the booty
Milestone dance?
Is that what you're doing then?
What?
I thought we
Every time.
agreed on a milestone dance.
I thought you were saying that's actually called the milestone dance. You can do that every time it's a milestone if you want.
Just a little,
Face the camera, though, with the cheeks out. Come on.
what, give you the arse?
Let's go now. See, here we go now. Here we go. Now it's a real party. Now the podcast has begun.
Let's get going. I feel
Episode
very
10.
elevated above you.
Episode
This is
10.
Rude.
Yeah, you're quite tall. Those
Yeah.
chairs are kind of like this, aren't they?
I know, I'm very
Sat
in a
up
little
bit.
box here.
You do like to be on the best angle on the camera if you can, though, don't you?
There's an angle that I like to talk to people from.
What?
My neck doesn't turn so well to the left.
You're
So
like
I
Zoolander. What do you do? You can't ever turn left. You have to do 270.
It's a murder life to be really ridiculously good looking. There's nothing more to life. In fact,
What's it called? Blue Steel.
we're sunning it up.
What does he do?
Like a glove.
Like a...
Yeah, Blue Steel. That's the one. I watched that the other day, you know, it's an
Did
awesome
you really?
film. Yeah, it's funny.
What's that school called that he makes?
The Derek Zoolander Foundation for kids who can't read good.
Or do other things good
or do
either?
other things good either, yeah. It has to be at least 3 times as big as this, you know, and they give him the
It's a
miniature.
scale model.
A school for ants.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Pop culture, eh?
Can we have a round of applause for episode 10?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Let's get back on
Come on
track.
now.
And for Rebecca Grayson, thank you for joining us.
Welcome. Welcome.
Our
back.
guest
you.
of honour today. How are you?
I'm alright, a bit nervous.
Nervous, that's all right.
Yeah.
Even though you did, I was going to say photo bomb, but video bomb, the previous podcast, just jumped in, didn't you?
Yeah,
Beautiful
sorry
though,
about
thank you. No, it's good. People keep doing this lately.
I know, I quite like it.
Yeah, we don't mind.
Don't
Like our
listen to the
signs
sign
on
on
the
the door.
I know, yeah.
Oh yeah, just ignore
But
it.
there's no reason to be nervous, because
you are-
luckily for you, we're talking about things that you know everything about, so it's all good.
You are esteemed.
I'm not going to ask you about
guest.
rocket science, so.
Rocket math.
Math.
We could do.
Training math.
The topic of today's conversation is going to be what makes a good personal trainer. Do you have points prepared?
I do.
I've got points. Do you have points?
A few.
Few points.
A few. I'm sure we've got more than a few
Couple
between
points.
us. I hope we've got different points.
That's interesting. There's enough out there. We'll see. But if not, it might just establish how important the points are if we've all thought
Yeah,
of them.
yeah.
That's a good point. I like that.
Yeah.
Do you allow yourself to be called a personal trainer these days?
I try and avoid it because I hate the term.
I know you do. In the YouTube descriptions, I've been calling you master trainer.
Get it!
Sounds like you're a Pokemon
Yeah,
catcher,
yeah,
doesn't it?
yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah, I like that.
I put master trainer Hukin. Sometimes I put no.
I prefer sensei.
Do you? Or do you?
Enter the dojo of death.
Yeah. He has aversion to being called personal trainer.
Yeah.
No, you've had this for years, haven't you?
I do.
I've been trying to talk you out of it.
I've met so many shit personal trainers, and this is what this podcast strives to change a little bit, as well as other things we've got planned for the future.
Oh, you should have brought that thing in then.
What's that?
The previous plan.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
God.
don't know when it been. Did you have it?
I haven't got it.
Oh, I don't know.
No.
What plan was this?
The one that was on
that
paper.
kid.
Yeah.
That guy did. But
Yeah, so we'll not call
Mentioning
out
no names.
individuals. No.
No. I mean, we could.
But I can cast a
we'll not.
broad net.
We could.
We could. If we want to make enemies. We don't have the views to make enemies yet.
No.
Eventually, I'm going to start calling people out. That's how it's going to go.
I don't mind who you call out as long as you're correct.
Call you out.
Please, as long as you're correct.
Yeah,
if you're going to come at me,
Gotta
you
back it
better
up.
come right, Will.
Gotta back
You
it up.
better come right.
So yeah, there are definitely qualities that make specifically good and bad personal trainers, aren't there?
All right, so how do you want to go about this then? Do you want to go first? Do you want to do 1 point each? Do you want to go first?
Well, yeah, do you want to go first, guest?
if you want.
Go on then. Hit us with 1 point of what you think makes a good personal trainer.
Communication.
That's a good one. I do not have that written down.
Do you not?
No, so good. What are the important points of communication?
I think one thing I learned is that just constantly letting your client know that you're there. So do you know, if you're not in contact with your client in between, I'm not saying you have to be always there, but I like to text them daily just to let them know I'm there. They don't have to reply, and I told them that. I'm just there for you, and then sort of also I'm a little bit accountable, and they don't forget that we've got a session coming up, and that in between that, it don't mean that they don't do anything in between the next session. It's not just about that one session that we have, or the 2 sessions, or the 3 sessions. It's what you do in between that.
I completely agree, because especially if you're working with people that have got weight management goals or health improvement goals or fitness goals that require more than 1 or 2 sessions a week where they come and see you, if you just see somebody once a week, they can easily fall off track. Can't they? By
easily.
like, if you see someone on Monday, they're going to be fine on Tuesday because they saw you yesterday. Wednesday, they're probably fine. Thursday, they're looking at the chocolate biscuits and they're thinking, really, should I now? And then when it gets to Friday, it's spiraling down. So I agree with you.
I only have one client that I see every couple of weeks and don't communicate in between, and it's because she's a powerlifter, and when we get together, she has a program sorted from something else, and everything we do has to be me observing her lift and fixing it. And so there's nothing to talk about outside of that.
Yeah.
But that's the only client I've got, and then everyone else, it gets more towards lifestyle coaching, doesn't it? Of how to figure your shit out.
Yeah, I always tell all my clients that they can check in with me every day if they want to. When I was running Slum Society, my private fat loss program, it used to be part of the program that people could and should check in every single day. And they didn't. They would check in on like 50% of days. They wouldn't check in every day, but they would check in every other day-ish. And that's really good. It's just keeping people accountable, keeping people supported, keeping on top of people, isn't it?
Yeah. And getting their feedback from that, because the majority of them do like it.
Yeah.
And I'll say, I don't know if you want me to, but I will just give you a text, see how you're getting on, see how your day, like your previous day was. But all of them don't mind. So it's not that.
So to play devil's advocate at the other side of that, do you think there's a healthy distancing that you should also employ? So that
but I think that
talk
comes
about this
over
quite a lot,
time
don't we?
and how new the client is.
Say that again.
I think that comes over time with the client.
Okay.
So they'll adapt themselves, because I think when they first start off on your journey, it's that I don't really say, because I think a lot of people dive into PT, not into PT, but into getting fit and starting the gym, and they'll not eat a lot, they'll cut the calories, then they'll come in, like they say, they're going to come in 5 times a week, they're going to start drinking more water, they're going to get more sleep, and there's all these things do have to be changed, but over time.
Too much, too fast.
Yeah. And then they don't stick to it, so they'll tell themselves they're going to do that, and if you don't follow that through yourself, it's just a negative thing on yourself, so you're quicker to not continue it. So they'll just stop.
Agreed, overwhelming themselves.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying though. We talk about this as well, don't we? Like client coach relationships and how close you want to be with the clients.
Yeah.
I think that if you can read the person though, the more you get to know somebody, you'll figure that out with them.
That's true. There's an individual basis there for sure.
So you'll read, like you said, that client that you've got, and you just check in, like you've seen that one that time, because you know that person and what they're capable of and what their support they need, or if they don't need that support. If you're good at reading a person,
that kind of comes into one of my points, which was the ability to read and predict people's requirements and anxieties and things, that they would. Basically social awareness.
People become more confident
in the gym,
over time with you. So then it becomes the point of, right, I don't need to text you every day to do that, because you're already doing it. That's already in your pattern now. So then you'll just distance yourself a little bit more. Then it gives them time to reach out, but you'll still check in with them, but just not as much, because they don't need that support as much. So I think it just adapts over time once their confidence grows.
Yeah, sometimes people need more support at the beginning, and then once they've gotten going and you've taught them most of the basics, then they just need a bit of accountability and check-in support. Yeah. And you're right, it's individual for each client. I have some clients who maybe they just check in with me once a week, and then they kind of just do it. And then they check in again and they kind of just do it.
You just sort of know that they're going to...
they just do it, and it's fine. And I have some clients who message me literally twice a day, every single day. And that's fine. I don't mind. Personally, I find that it works out kind of even. If you have some clients that message you less and some clients that message you more, it kind of averages out as just like fine.
Oh, for your total workload.
Yeah, it's kind of just fine in the middle. I think there's a lot of other good points that we could get out of even just your one communication point though, because what about communication on the gym floor? I see some personal trainers facing the wrong way. Or the trainer's facing this way.
Some of them communicate more with their thumbs and their phone during the session.
Exactly. I can spot a good personal trainer from 150 meters away. I don't even have to know what you're talking about. If I can just look at the trainer and the body language between what's going on and what's happening in that situation from 3 gyms away, I'll assess you.
If you're in S20 going like, I don't know about that, then
if you're a shitty PT, I'll sniff you out.
I know you will.
There's a shark around. People are chumming up the waters. I'm feeling hungry.
So talk through that a little bit more then, the communication in the gym, what you look for.
Are you looking at me or Beck? I can't see with your sunglasses on who you're referring to.
You, sir.
Number one, just pay attention to the client is number one. I'm literally not even kidding. How many people, personal trainers, are texting or literally facing the wrong direction? Yeah. Or the client's doing an exercise, and because you're doing an exercise facing that way, the client, you see the personal trainer over the course of about 3 or 4 reps slowly starts staring off into space.
Oh God!
Like this, they just sort of fade away, and then snap back near the end. And the client says, "How many have I done?" And they say, 2 more. Which is what everyone does when really they've got no idea what's going on.
Do you know, I cannot help, I count everything without noticing it now. I count the steps I take, I count other people's reps when I'm in the gym. I'll just be training myself on my phone, and someone doing something in front of me, I'll realise.
I'm imagining like Matrix numbers.
Literally, I'm Neo in it.
People are doing reps in a gym in front of Will, and there's numbers falling from the sky.
This is it, I'm Keanu Reeves.
It does get to the point where you can feel how many reps someone's done, doesn't it?
Dude,
I'm like, feels like a 7.
And there is also like, the experience that comes with that. Like, you might say, okay, your goal is 12 reps this set. That will beat the 11 you got last time.
Sure.
But maybe they get there, and you have, like, I have a really good, not to sound like an arsehole, but I have a really good understanding.
Please continue.
No, I do. I genuinely have a really good understanding of rate of perceived exertion in other people. We saw this with you when we were training the other day. I said, I reckon you've got 8, and you got exactly 8.
Exactly.
So it's just, it's
That's
knowing
a skill
that as well.
built over time.
For sure. There's no other way of doing that.
Yeah, I'm the same, and it does become a skill where you can guess based on what kind of effort or intensity somebody was putting into a previous set. If you put the weight up, you can pretty closely guess.
Half of it's mathematics, isn't it? Basically.
It is a little bit, yeah. I usually teach people, this is just like very brashly overgeneralizing, that if they increase the weight by the smallest increment possible, either on a machine, it might be the next pin down, or it might be a small plate on each side, or the dumbbell, it's the next one up. Probably they'll lose 5 or 6 reps. I think most of the time, if you can do 15, and we put the weight up, you're not going to do 3.
Yeah.
You're going to do like 8 to 11 or something, aren't you? It's going to be like still within a fine rep range.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, I think communication in the gym is very important because it's one-on-one. It's literally with that person, isn't it? And sometimes when somebody's in a personal training session, that's some of the only time they get for themselves per week. If you've got kids and you've got a job, and then you're going home and you're looking after your family, and then you're also trying to see your friends, and you also need to go see, you're trying to do all these things. Sometimes people don't get much time.
So I'd be interested, Bex, on your perspective of, in my opinion, the communication comes down to 2 things. One, the education. There is legitimate science-based things that you need to communicate.
Oh, so what you're doing with the communication is actually another level to it.
Within that, it's condensing that education into layman's terms that they can understand. How do you go about this?
I think this is one of your best skills.
You do?
Yeah, making things really simple and understandable for people. Like, you're really good at working with people who've got anxiety about in the gym, aren't you? You're really good at making people feel comfortable and talking to them in a way that they understand.
Yeah. I just, if somebody's, the majority are starting off, I like to work with people that are really just starting off at the gym. So
you've got everything to teach them.
Take it back to like the most important exercises. So completely like compound movements, but just take it right back down to the basic and learning them first from the off. I think you talked about this in the last one, even with the progressive
so
overload.
Starting with the skill.
And just starting with getting technique, and when you're saying high reps and just getting, so then they get used to that movement, because things are hard to learn. Like the things that look the simplest things to learn are like the hardest things. Just hip hinge. They're the hardest things to learn, and they take the longest amount of time. So the first 4 to 6 weeks of somebody starting up, you're really just getting the basic movements. And then from there, then you gauge looking at what their goals are. Like some people might be, they want to work more on balance. Like I've had a client that just wanted to really get better at his balance. So that's what we did. We just focused on certain things. First off, we just got the movements correct, got him used to certain movements. And then we'd progress later on onto different stages of what they want to do. So I think it would just, for me, I just take it right back to the bottom, to the start, and then build from that.
Because then you touched on another point, which was making it specific to their goals.
To them, to their needs.
Which is part of that communication.
Yeah. So it depends who you've got, doesn't it? You might have got, I like to work with people like health conditions or stuff like that. So then So somebody might have a lung condition, somebody might have arthritis, two totally different illnesses.
and so different things require
so you do different things
inputs.
for them. So that's, and then if there's something that I really don't know about, if something's come along, I won't wing it and say, oh, I'll just do that for you and do like a generic program. I'll be honest and tell them that I hadn't heard of that, and then I'll go away and figure that out and the best thing for them to do, rather than just, oh well, we'll do that.
So that falls under probably like, staying within your lines and focusing on what you're good at, but also being honest and then striving towards bettering your own education.
And if there's something, that I don't specifically know much about, like I like to help people with health conditions, somebody's better at something else, I wouldn't think, oh, I'll just take this client on just to have a client.
Yep.
I'm going to advise them to somebody else that's better at what in their the word
Field.
This is
than
amazing.
what I am.
This is absolutely amazing, and this is one of the reasons why you're an excellent personal trainer, because this is low ego and high integrity. Because you're not even pretending I know everything, that's a trap that younger, I mean in terms of like career, not in terms of like physical age, but more beginner personal trainers fall into this trap of feeling like they should know every answer to every single thing.
True. Yeah, I did that.
It's a powerful position to be in when a client asks you a question to say, I don't know. This firstly builds trust with the client, because you could make something up, and if you lie and then you get caught lying, if they Google it and they think, what was that person? Then now you're screwed. Now the entire relationship's screwed. If you say, honestly, I don't know, but I can find out. Like one of your clients has got diabetes and you were asking me a few technical questions about it the other day, weren't you?
Came to the master.
Exactly. So it's good for the client will appreciate that more as well, that you're open and honest about what areas you're the best in and what areas that are not necessarily your exact skill area. But then if you can also say, but I know someone and have a friend or I have a colleague who's amazing in this area, so let me just check with them and then get back to you, then do what you do, follow up with them after with a little message or an email with that information. Now they get access to more professionals. They pay you, but they know you've got professionals behind you.
And they're not going to run away and leave you.
No.
Never.
To go to who? To do what?
No.
Exactly. No, it's not going to work like that.
Yeah.
No, they'll appreciate it more that you have got access to even more people. So then by paying you, they get access to, more information from more people. So that's really, really good. And it's a game I've loved to play since day one. Literally, I love it if somebody asks me a question that I don't know the answer to, because I am going to go look it up and then nobody can ever ask me that and I won't know ever again.
Yeah.
And now I've been doing it so long.
Collect the information.
Yeah, now I've nearly filled all the gaps.
Yeah.
Because people have asked me so many thousands of questions.
From a practical perspective as well, like you might not know, what microbiome does and this and that, but like from a practical perspective, and if you did need to know, you'd find it out. But you're covered on all bases now.
Yeah, just slowly. It's just a bit of a skill that you build over time, isn't it? People just ask you enough questions and you just fill the gaps and fill the gaps and fill the gaps and fill the gaps and you just build the competency. So I love it, literally. Really, really good. All right, so we've done communication, we've done high integrity, we've done low ego. This is good. What else are we going through?
We slightly did education, just knowing your shit.
Yeah, education's very
Just be the
important.
best.
Right
The information's
stuff.
out there.
Yeah.
Just know it. It's as simple as that. It's, usually you're freelance.
I would even
you're
want
expensive.
to give wrong advice.
No.
Like you won't.
It's such
you
an anxious
shouldn't
place to
want
exist
do
as
that.
well. I throw around the term confidence is incompetency a lot. And it's so true. Like, because it takes knowing a lot before you even get to the point of saying, I don't know that. Do you know what I mean? Because it's that fear that people exist in when they
have to know
where
what you
they
don't
know
know.
that they don't know enough.
Yeah.
So they kind of try and bullshit it, figure it out. When your confidence in your competency is there, you're able to step away and say, I don't know that. I'll go and figure it out. But again, it's just the client's paying for it. They expect you to know the things. Know the things.
Yeah, and personal training's way more varied than people think it is. Like, let's play a game. Let's name one thing each until we run out of areas of skill or knowledge or education you need to be a good personal trainer.
Okay.
Like, I'll go first. Nutrition, you go.
Biomechanics.
Communication.
Yeah, good. Good. Communication's a skill. I'll say psychology.
Sociology.
Compassion.
Very good. I'll say kinesiology.
Oh, yes.
Oh God, take me out of it now
then. Articulation.
What do you mean by that? Just how to speak.
Yeah, how to articulate these thoughts. Is that cheating?
No. What else could we have? I'll say health conditions. Something like this. Any more from anyone else?
Kind of covered all the educational stuff.
Maybe a little bit.
Let's say fitness education. You know, like more endurance stuff. You know, you can get into every.
Actually, yeah, you're sparking off more ideas. Mobility and movement. You need education in. Flexibility. Exactly.
Strength training. Hypertrophy training.
Muscle building. Exactly. Yeah. Weight management.
Yeah.
What else?
Programming,
definitely. What about self-motivation? What about business skills? What about time management?
I would say a healthy amount of being able to be confrontational, you know?
Okay, interesting.
Not letting clients that naturally don't want to work hard get too comfortable, you know, like pulling up by the bootstraps and telling them you're not working hard enough. You know, there's a slight element of that about it.
So walking the line between sort of like being compassionate, but also
we've got shit to do.
Also being directive about what needs to be done.
Yeah. So I think efficiency could fall into that as well. Like it's hard. It's so easy to just start a session with someone and then 10 minutes later be like, we haven't done anything yet. We've just been chin wagging. You need to be like condensed with your ability to socialise and talk and educate in that time, but then quickly go, right, okay, do a set now. Back and forth.
This is a good point. When you said efficiency, I wasn't fully appreciating what you've said, but now you're saying that, like how much can you get into the session and what can we teach people and when are we doing it? Because you're trying to teach people about maybe a bit about food and maybe talk a bit about lifestyle, but also you need to get them to train and also we need to warm up and we've only got 1 hour.
I'm being an arsehole here, but as an example, I once went on holiday and left one of my clients with a personal trainer for the week, and they literally did 50% of the workload that we usually do. 50% of the exercises is all they did in the same amount of time, which is just ridiculous. You know, be quicker, be faster, it's what we talked about before, have an ability to predict your client's needs and what has to happen, good social awareness, like when I'm on this machine, if I know I need that one next, as I'm halfway through the last set, I'm going to go and ask, hey, are you using that? Can I jump on, please? If not, now I need to consider what I'm doing next, so that not a minute is wasted because it's expensive shit that they're paying for. You know, so you need to be efficient with it. Like a good little PA, like the butler from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
But I think not. There's that getting it in the time that they have, but even as well, even if it runs out of that time that they've paid for, I'll make sure we still finish, even if it's after the time.
That's commendable. I have mixed feelings about that. Yeah.
I won't do it all the time, but if somebody's, not just because we've talked in the session, just because we've upped things, so things have took a bit longer to get through, or we've upped to the rest period depending on the programme that we've designed.
Yeah, that gets
tricky. So then it goes over, doesn't it, a little bit, but it doesn't bother me, unless I've got somebody in that's coming in, then they're aware of that anyway.
And also don't talk yourself down because you definitely go over session time.
No, I do. I'm talking to the fact that I used to be so regimented about finishing exactly on the minute. I used to have this very, not skewed perspective, but I don't know, slightly bad psychology towards the fact that I wouldn't ask them for more money, so they shouldn't ask me for more time. And I would always just be like, look, you paid for this hour, not an hour. If you're late, we finish on time. I've got shit to do. Go away.
Stop it.
But now I'm different to that. Yeah. Now I am different to that. I've always left 15 minutes in between sessions, and I used to leave that time to write my next client's program, so I needed it. Whereas now I always come in and write them all for the start of the day first, and then that 15 minutes becomes my loose time where I can go over by 10 minutes and whatnot. Which is a better psychology, I think, to have towards it. But
of course, because it's showing that you care more about the client than the money.
Rather than the money.
Yeah, we're getting the job done.
And it's
however long
strange,
it takes.
It never was a money thing for me. It was a kind of like an obsessive compulsive thing in my head, which was like, you've paid for this is what you get, which I've always had with time, to be fair. That's just a personality trait of mine. I have only in the last couple of years began to understand the concept of being late. You know, when people are late. I haven't understood it for years. It's one of my kind of tisms.
What you mean? You didn't like it previously, but now you understand how things can happen and go wrong? What are you saying?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Like, or I think it's the literalness of it all. Like, I now understand that when people say, I'll be there in 2 minutes, It's more of a colloquial term.
Oh, they don't actually.
No, because what I do is I
Really
look at the
10.
clock and then I plan my activities for 2 minutes so that and then I'm there waiting kind of thing. And now I've learned to be a little less weird about that stuff. But this is going off topic.
It's not off topic though, because me and you are similar in this way.
But yeah.
I like planning things to the minute as well, don't I? I'm like, this is happening at this time, then it's this, then it's this, then it's this.
I'm just very literal in most things that I do.
You are.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. You lead on to one of my good points as well with what you're saying, because I know that you're not about the money and you've never been about the money, and neither am I, because I'm not a good businessman.
No, I'm a terrible businessman.
Yeah, I know. And you're also not about the money either, which is evident from...
I always forget to tell people to pay me. It's terrible. Always.
From what you're just saying. So when we were discussing, well, we weren't discussing, but we were all thinking about points to make about what makes a good personal trainer previous. My first one was purpose or intention.
Okay.
It's why is the person, this is my number one point, what makes a good personal trainer or not, is why are you actually being a personal trainer, and what is your intention and purpose with the client even to start with. Because too many personal trainers are thinking about the money, and you will fail. Literally, if you see clients as dollar signs, and when somebody comes to sign up, you're thinking about how much money you can get from them, how many sessions can I get out per week of this person, how much money am I making, okay, I'm trying to make like $5,000 a month or whatever you're trying to make, and you're just seeing it all as dollar signs. I've seen this ruin people. I've literally coached personal trainers down the care, compassion and support route, and then they've gone with a different business coach, not that I'm a personal training business coach, I'm not, but they've gone with a different one after, who's then taught them like hard sales tactics and like, oh, we need to set like money goals and we need to be making this much per month, so then you need to do this and this, and you're taking it too seriously, and it just destroys it literally, because the mindset of why you're actually there with the person just goes completely out the window. You cannot have the education to be a good personal trainer, but if you're in it because you actually want to help people and get them the results, you can get the education.
Yeah, you learn it, don't you?
That's what they kind of do here at the station gym, don't they? They don't mind hiring people who don't have the best skills, but you have to have the right personality.
It's much easier to teach skills than it is personality.
Yeah, you can't all different personalities that's a better way, because all different personalities can work as a personal trainer.
Yes.
You can be more of a drill sergeant and some clients will like that, or you can be like the nice guy and some people will like that.
Soft and cuddly like you.
Yeah, cute me.
Like you.
I'm like friendly hopefully and like the teammate.
I want to be feared.
Yeah, do you?
Because the morality of it as well is something that people can pull the wool over your eyes on quite a lot. They can say that they're morally aligned and that this is what they care about, but they don't really care about it. And it's much harder to teach as well. Like I know I've been in times when I've not cared about the people so much and told people that I do and this, that and the other, and that was back when I was like in my teens and stuff. And it takes a serious kind of, often like a life event or a shift or something to happen before you're like, oh, actually, bad business is good business. If I'm just a person and I'm not a money-grabbing little person, then people actually want my services more.
Bad business is good business. It just took me like 20 seconds to like think, what? And then
stare it off and just
put those together and think, actually see what you're saying there. That's
it definitely is. Like the fact that I forget to get clients to pay me.
Not giving a bad service.
No,
you don't mean doing a bad service.
Being a bad businessman.
Yeah.
It can be. In our vocation, it can be, for sure.
It's worked for me the whole time because I've never been a good businessman, literally. I don't focus on it, literally. I have no intentions about this. Like I've told this story before, but my first mentor was Chris Burgess from Lift the Bar, and the only advice he ever gave me was help and support the client. And I would say, yeah, but Chris, should I do this or this? And he'd just say, listen, just help people as good as you can. Just non-stop, just help everyone.
So cute.
Literally, that was his only advice, just over. And that's why I picked him as a mentor in the first place, because I thought, this guy's right, actually. He understands the baseline of like what the point of the career actually is. Somebody comes to you because they're trying to achieve a goal. They can't do it on their own, so help them achieve the goal. If you do that, that fulfills 80% of all of it, doesn't it? If you don't do that, you kind of fail the whole thing. You can be as nice and as smart as you want, but if you don't actually help the person achieve what they want to achieve, then what have you done?
Personal training's a long game as well, so take like massage we've been discussing recently. You don't need to be as in-depth with your clients. You're not going to be messaging your clients asking how they're doing outside of that, because it's more of a beauty treatment type thing. It's like, come in, have this time, go away. Personal training is much more of a subscription, much more of a long drawn out long-term gratification. So you need to be a person about it, don't you? And you get better business from being a morally aligned person, not just someone that's trying to get people in and out the door.
Yeah, and to be completely transparent, that's one of the reasons why we do this podcast, isn't it? It's so that people can see that we're real people. How many podcasts have we done now? Loads. How many hours is there of us talking online? There's hundreds of hours.
Yeah.
So you can't...
We're rough around the edges. And
Yeah, but you also can't question that we're real. We sit here for long enough with no edits, with no notes, talking, and we never get the answers wrong. We have the right information, we have the right positivity, we have the right attitude, and we come to try and help people every single week, all the time, with consistency. You can't deny, after listening to the podcast, that we're real. That's one of the reasons that we do it, isn't it? To try and show people that we are real people and they can get to know our personality. They do that here at the station gym wall and the social media as well, don't they? Trying to get people's personalities across, and then members come down and then they recognise people, don't they? Etc. It's really nice because it is called personal training at the end of the day, isn't it? It's person to person. It's people helping people. That is the goal over it. So my number one was purpose and intention was number one.
I think it is clearly working as well on the social media because we've had loads of people coming with anxiety lately.
They've got anxiety, but they're still brave enough to come in.
Yeah.
I always remember I had a lady who, she wasn't my client at the time, but she did become my client and told me this story. She said the first time she came to the gym, she pulled up in the car park, cried, and then went home. The second time she came to the gym, she pulled up in the car park, cried, got out of the car, cried, and then went home. The third time she came to the gym, she pulled up in the car park, cried, made it into the foyer area at the gym group, where you have to press the button for somebody to let you in.
That's horrible.
Yeah, cried and then went home.
Yeah.
The fourth time she made it into the gym, sat on the bike for a bit, got scared and went home. And then she came to talk to me after a while. This is some people's real experience.
I know.
No, isn't it? This is some people's real experience.
Yeah.
so that touches on one of the things that was one of my last points, which was preempting and, again, it's sociology, but preempting and understanding people's anxieties towards the gym. In a similar way to how you, like I was saying, in your last set, you're assessing to see if the machine you need next is free. It's just having a good social, spatial understanding, awareness of what your client's feeling, doing, and answering questions that you know they want to ask, but perhaps aren't asking type thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I like that one.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so hard to nail down what exactly that is and describe it.
It's kind of like my second point, though, because the second point I thought after intention and purpose was care, compassion, and support.
Okay.
That's kind of what you're saying. You're talking about compassion, empathy, understanding,
Yes.
intuition.
I mean it 50-50 between the person and the education type thing.
Yeah.
Because how many times do personal trainers just educate someone on something once? Okay, this is the exercise, the next week we do it again, and they never really look at it again. Like what we were talking about last episode, the core stability in, say, a back squat. You wouldn't start with a back squat, so you're not going to start with core stability. You're going to start with hip, engaging your quads, your foot stability, and then a month down the line, you might start introducing someone to the idea of core stability. Yeah. So it's like preempting what they need when and giving it them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's way too much information at the start to
you can't do
give
it.
everything. Yeah.
Not enough time either, is there?
No.
Yeah,
Not in an hour
I went to
cover.
JD Gym North, the one at Hillsborough, where Martin's the manager, and I went with one of my friends that I used to live with, Cam.
This, yeah.
And he's always been big into training, and he's very intelligent. He's a super intelligent guy, far more intelligent than me. But he's never done like any personal training or coaching. He just loves it, literally, and he's got so much information that he's just gathered over time. And I have great conversations with him. And we went with his boss at work, who was just getting into training. So me and Cam were both coaching John, this guy. And I said to Cam after about 10 minutes, I said, bro, listen, we need to take turns because we're giving too many cue points. I'm saying, John, this set, try and do this. And then Cam says, yeah, and I think you should do this. And he's right. But I'm also like, slow down. Because we're going to overwhelm this guy with like 900 cue points, which is another thing that beginner personal trainers, they make that mistake. They try and help the clients too much, whereas over time you kind of learn, you should really only give like one improvement per set.
Yeah.
Basically just one.
You as a coach should only really look at one thing per set as well. You can't look at someone's foot stability, lower back movement, hip mobility and actual bar path all in one set. Pick one and look at it.
We could, but then if you put that over to the client, this is a bad idea.
No, even for yourself as well. You're not going to get good feedback unless you isolate something and focus.
So you know what variable you're changing and what outcome it's having. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I see way too many beginner personal trainers using language that the client doesn't understand and giving way too many cue points way too fast. It's fine if you're coaching me.
That's what we were talking about earlier.
Give me 9 cue points. I'm going to get it.
Condense that information. Like I can say, posteriorly tilt your hips and flatten out your lower back, and you understand what that means. I can't say that to a client.
No, don't say that to a client. Exactly, no.
You need these anecdotes to be like, oh, this is how you do this. I need you to concave your chest or whatever. You don't use sternum and shit like this. You use words that they're going to understand, and then slowly trickle in the science of it bit by bit, because it is important for them to learn that. That's
I just talk like that in general anyway.
What?
Like when you tone it down for clients, so that's just how I talk in general.
That's handy then, that works.
So, that's a good thing.
So I don't have to struggle with it. Even though I do know it, I still find it the simplest ways.
We talk about bare minimum doing both, don't we? That's what we try and do. That's what we try and do on the podcast, and we're trying to get into the skill of it. Is if we use any technical language, use the technical language fine, so that people learn it, but then also explain what it is simply.
That's my philosophy in training clients.
We're trying that on the podcast as well, aren't we? We have to keep reminding each other sometimes, because sometimes for us three being so high level at this, we forget what people don't know. We learnt this on the podcast when we were at my old apartment a couple of years ago, didn't we? When we were talking about just chatting like we do. And then on one episode, we got 3 messages, people saying, what is a glute?
Yeah.
Because we were saying glutes this and train this. People, like the baseline level some people are at, we need to take it back.
You forget where you're at.
Yeah, compared to where others are at.
And then you'll say it just in general, thinking that people know that, and then you're like, oh.
Yeah, so trying to explain both glute, meaning bum muscles, kind of game, and then going forward. That's what we try and do, isn't it? Try and remember this kind of thing. We've been through all my points though, pretty much. My first one was purpose and intention, like why are you actually there? Be there to actually help the client in the first place. Understand that is the job, and if you're not doing that, you can do anything else and it's all wrong, and you will fail. You have to help people achieve their goals. What did I say my second one was? I've forgotten. I've got it written down. Oh, care, compassion and support, I've just remembered. Yeah, care, compassion and support, being in it for the right reasons. Communication goes into that, like you said, supporting people, accountability, caring about the client. And what you said comes into it as well about how did you describe it, but understanding what the client wants and maybe helping them with what they need before they maybe ask for it.
I guess it's essentially empathy, sociology. Maybe. It's understanding.
It's part of that.
It's just understanding and reading a social situation and predicting what needs happening when, kind of thing. Predicting people's needs ahead of time, and what anxieties they may have, what things they may need to know. Like sometimes I'll be teaching a client something, and before they start a set, I can see that they're thinking about a cue specifically, and they're like, their eyes are like looking up, they're kind of like trying to figure something out. And I'll say, okay, when you do this is kind of what you need to be thinking about. It's being switched on to that kind of stuff.
This is like we were saying though, but that's because you're watching the client and you're actually paying attention. I love watching you personal train. I've obviously done it for years, and I can. Obviously, I'm not close enough to always hear what you're saying, but I can see exactly like you're saying that your personality changes based on what's happening at that moment. In between sets, your posture relaxes and you talk to the client and you're like, hey, and I can't always tell what you're saying because I'm at the other side of the gym, but you're being friendly. And then that goes on for about 30 to 45 seconds or a minute. And then when it's set time, you stop, tell the client it's set time, your posture changes, it's business mode, you squat down and start focusing and moving around the client. And then as soon as they put the weight down and everything's safe, oh, Will's back.
You're so right.
And we're friends again.
I wouldn't notice that.
I've actually seen that as well already.
But it's perfection. It's exactly what it needs to be.
Get it.
It's friendly in between the sets, chatting, talking about things, making it calm, making it relaxed. But when it's business time, it's business time. If the client moves up to the weight, your focus goes straight in. And I noticed it on that video we made of us when we're doing the shoulder press. If you watch your eyes, you don't even look away from me for 1 second. You're staring literally at me in the mirror when I'm doing it. You glance down to look at me again and then glance back, to like get different angles. Like literally laser focused. It's perfect.
It's probably almost like the closest thing I have to meditation if I think about it. Like it is. It's when I'm present. That's it. There's no peripherals going on.
Yeah, just zoomed in. Yeah, and you're moving around angles and stuff like this. I like watching it because it's really good, and that's a nice skill, I guess, to have built over time.
I respect that.
No, I respect you for it. It's really, really good. Yes. I like watching different people's coaching styles because you're a bit more intense and more cue points than me, whereas I'm a bit more like friendly, slower about it. You're more like...
Well, this is something I was going to say, is it's an interesting example between 3 different people of how we can all be quite different actually in our coaching and yet equally legit. Like a more... What would you call it? Like a more relaxed... conversational type approach in how you teach things, like less like getting the science across but not trying to battering around them with science kind of thing, yours, a little more friendly, a little gentler, a little more about the empathy and things and this, that and the other. And like, I'll address that when I need to, but I don't necessarily lead with that. I lead with shit we've got to do. Let's get it done. And so that's just interesting how, that can all be different.
Yeah, and it's all equally correct. I agree. It's different personalities for different people. Everybody should try and be themselves. And if you're the personal trainer that is the way you are, you'll attract the clients that like that. Like, you just won't get the same clients as me, and you won't get the same clients as me. Which is why it's not really a competition in gyms, is it? Because people buy from people. Yeah. Some people hear me explain things and they'll think, what? They'll think, what's this guy talking about? Whereas some people hear me explain things and they think, that makes sense. Yeah. I've never heard anybody make that much sense before. Literally. Yeah. But it's not because I'm explaining it any better. It's just my way fits with some people and doesn't with other people, and your way fits with some people and doesn't with other people. There's all different types of personal trainers. Like at Macros Inc., there's around 150 coaches or something like this, and each coach is assessed for what their personality is like, and on the intake form the client can put what type of personality they would like the coach can have. If they put drill sergeant, they're not like, drill sergeant is a box they can tick. They're not likely to get me.
That's gas.
Yeah.
That's mad, man.
They can tick a box which says, do they want to be more like numbers and analytical focused, or do they want to be more like compassion and talkative focused and stuff like this, or do you want like somebody who's a teammate, or do you want like how much direction do you want, and things like this. So if somebody puts like, I want somebody that's a drill sergeant and going to tell me to like shut the fuck up and do it, they're not likely to get allocated to me. If they're scared and worried about things, they're likely to get allocated to me.
Yeah, you are good at that. Yeah, I couldn't deal with that.
What, being nice to people?
Babysitting emotions. I'm not good at it so much.
Okay.
I can do it a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's in my clause now on my online coaching that I'm not a psychologist or a therapist.
Which
don't
is true.
Come to me with your problems. Basically, Like, I'm a biomechanist, and this is a shit I understand. I'll coach you through stuff. I'm a nice guy, but I'm not a therapist.
No, and that's true, and it's a delicate balance to play, because I'm also not a therapist or a mental health professional, and I do say that.
You don't seem to collect stress from talking to people about their issues like that, whereas I definitely do.
I think it's the tisms.
It might well be.
It defends me.
Autistic powers.
Yeah. No, I actually feel great from it. I offer my clients, if they want to talk about mental health, I offer them, not the same people, but every single week I ask people, if they check in with me and they say, hey, I'm not feeling good about this and this and this, I will literally reply to them, I am not a mental health professional and I don't have advice on anything except health and fitness, but I have ears and I have care.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk?
That's good.
Literally. And I'll just listen to them, literally. And people generally respond positive to me in ways, so I hope that I have at least care and compassion to offer that person.
No, you definitely do. I think it's just, it's nice. I think part of it is because it's clear from you that it doesn't really stress you out. So
no, I feel fulfilled from it. Even if I can't help that person, if I've let them be a soundboard or let them have somebody who they feel like they can talk to, or even just being there to sit with somebody while they weren't feeling good, even just allowing people to talk sometimes makes them feel a lot better. Or even just them knowing that I just care, even though they're not paying me extra and it's not about health and fitness, but I actually just do care. This is really good for the relationship building overall.
I think I've just figured it out. I think, but maybe you're the same as me in this, and now I'm starting to get a bit just introverted into my own thinking about, this isn't the topic of the podcast, but the reason it stresses me out and gives me anxiety and I don't like doing it is because I need to solve problems when they come to me like that. So I always offer, it's something I've become aware of recently, often it's a lady because it's more of a feminine versus masculine type emotion, and a want to have to that emotion is to be heard, whereas my instinct is just to solve it. So I just offer solutions.
That is a male
emotion.
Natural instinct.
Exactly.
To try and solve problems that occur.
So I'm like hyper masculine in that way. Like I don't understand the emotion towards it, because men don't want that. If I come to someone with a problem, sometimes I go to my mother with a problem or something and she tries to make me feel better. I'm like, I don't need feeling better. I have those things within me.
Solutions.
I need a solution.
But some people do want that.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm not good at that. It's generally
like
the masculine and feminine split. But
at that with people.
Because
so, and relatability. So if you've gone through something and they come to you and you have your PT and you get to know him, and they start confining you with stuff and you've been through it, and then you explain why you've got to this point, because there's a lot me working with women, I find that they'll have gone through stuff, and this is why one of the reasons why they started the gym, but that's one of the reasons I started the gym. So then they can see where I'm at now.
Relatability.
And then, and then they're like, and then sort of makes them, so sometimes having that vent and somebody else understanding that for them. So I think I'm quite good at listening to people. And I don't give advice, I give what I've gone through.
Yeah, so it's offering the correct...
Yeah, and just saying this is how
emotional,
I've got to where I've got to. It's not that you have to do that too, but it's just a bit of advice for them.
Yeah.
And then they understand, maybe it is, you can do it that way.
You can at least show someone it's possible to...
to
I
get
used to be this way, but now I'm this way. And you could be too.
And that's why it's personal training, isn't it? Because my thing there for me would be that I listen as much as you listen, and I offer a solution where you offer more emotional support, and then it feels like they don't listen to me because I've given them a solution and they don't do anything about it. And that's what the difference is, isn't it? And that's why we end up with different clients. Look at that.
Any more random points on what makes good personal trainers and not? Any more?
Just don't be a dick.
Okay, good. That's good. Yes, that's part of it.
Like if I had to boil it down, know your shit.
Know your shit.
So don't be dumb. Don't be a dick. See you later.
Okay.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, this has been Fit Talk
And
Radio.
if you don't know your shit, go and find the shit out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can all boil
Don't
back to them
just-
points.
yeah.
That's for me. That's my 2 cents.
How do people find out shit or stuff? How do people find things out? Our podcast is one.
Curiosity, Curiosity will take you anywhere, won't it? A Google
Yeah, but it
search
can
is
also
probably your
take you some
first
very
step,
terrible
which isn't.
places.
Yeah, of course.
It also
But then,
killed several cats, didn't it?
so that means, but for that to fail you, you have to stop at the first source, don't you? You'd find the first source, go, oh, okay, that's the answer, and then leave it there. But if you're just cross-referencing everything and pairing research against each other, you'll figure out what the best is. You'll figure out who the best people to listen to are. We are 3 of those people. You know, it's just it's curiosity, isn't it? If you genuinely care about it, you're gonna figure it out. You'll find the answers everywhere. I'm currently reading through Renaissance periodization programming stuff, as well as listening to a lot of Dr. Andrew Huberman stuff and Andy Galpin and this kind of shit. So, you know, you'll just find it.
That's biomechanics and strength training kind of stuff by like PhD researching professionals.
Neuroscience.
All those people are worth listening to. Renaissance periodization, Dr. Andy Galpin, Dr. Andrew Huberman. These are all correct people.
Big people.
Definitely to listen
They're
to.
qualified by their size.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're jacked and you're a scientist, though, that's kind of the best of both worlds, isn't it?
Mike Metzner kind of style. This is power.
If you're smarter than me and bigger than me.
And you've got a better moustache than me. I don't like you. Go away.
Any other good points?
This is why Phil's annoying, because he's smart and big. Go on, sorry. Any more points from Rebecca?
No. No.
Concise. I like it.
I think we covered it. What do you think?
I think we did. Thank you for listening, people. Be better personal trainers. That's my advice. And we'll love you and leave you and see you next time.
Wait, how would a client find out who's a good personal trainer? Like, that's an issue as well, isn't it, sometimes?
Well, again, it's hard to not sound arrogant, but speaking from experience, yesterday, one of my clients was actually telling me why she chose me.
Okay, good.
Which is interesting. So obviously I helped build this place, and she said that she came to have a look around it as it was being built, and I was the one that showed her around, and I was so informative and attentive to understanding and predicting her needs and showing her what the stuff we had was.
Yeah.
Then she came and had a look round by, I'm not sure, someone else who wasn't quite as informative or something like this, and that kind of made her decide, like, okay, like, this is more appropriate for me, someone that's a bit more on it and understanding of my needs, kind of thing. So I think just look out for what you feel like you would need in a personal trainer. Generally, if
That's a nice point.
if they're concise, if they have stuff to say, they don't feel like they're filling gaps. You ask questions and they have answers. And you know, if it happens that you catch them on something they don't know, they have a like we said before, a good morality about telling the truth about that and saying, I will go and find it out.
Good integrity, yeah. If they're not pushy as well.
People ask me things about the cafe all the time, and I'm like, I don't know, I'll try and find out for you. I don't work in the cafe.
Yeah. Don't mess with that on there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. That makes it echo sometimes and messes the audio up. I did that last time.
Sorry.
Started fiddling with it and I ruined the audio on one of the podcasts.
What we like.
Yeah, but that's a very good point. I agree. So look for what you would want in a personal trainer. Look for if they're paying attention. Look for if they're actually asking you about your goals and what you want to achieve, and then trying to create a plan that goes forward towards those goals.
I'd often say go with your gut instinct. There's a weird sixth sense you can have towards people like this. Some people are a bit worse at it, but they say people have either windows or mirrors for eyes. And you want the ones that are windows, where you can see into the soul, not the ones that just reflect whatever they want you to see.
That's an interesting point, isn't it, I guess? That's quite interesting to consider.
Yeah.
I would say look for somebody who's caring and compassionate and not being too pushy and thinking about you and your goals. And you could also talk to, like you just said, talk to a few different personal trainers and then you'll start to get
one that's for you.
More baseline points for what different people's personalities are like and what it's going to be like. So go around and talk to a few different people and then choose who's right for you. Done.
Done.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll see you next time. Take care. Thank you.